Welcome back. Here we are at the edge of the most abused piece of science in the entire manifestation space. You've heard it. Quantum physics proves consciousness creates reality. It's a beautiful claim, but usually it's a bit of a stretch. The truth is more interesting than the New Age version or the skeptic's dismissal. I've spent 30 years wrestling with this math. The relationship between physics and consciousness is real, but it's complicated. Ready? Let's do this. Essential question. 1. Does quantum mechanics actually prove that consciousness creates reality? This is why most of you are here. The answer is nuanced. Some interpretations say yes, some say no. We're going to look at the data without the dogma. Question 2. What does the measurement problem actually say, and what has been falsely attributed to it? This is the heart of the puzzle. Why does a system exist in all possible states until measured? Most spiritual teachers define measurement as looking, but physics has other ideas. And question 3, is there a legitimate connection to manifestation, or is this all just clever marketing? We'll find out where that line falls. By the end of this module, we have some clear objectives. First, we'll tackle the famous double-slit experiment. Feynman called it the only mystery. We'll see what it actually tells us about wave-particle duality and the role of the observer. We'll define the wave function, superposition, and collapse in terms that are technically accurate, but won't make your head explode. We'll describe at least 8 major interpretations, from Copenhagen to many worlds to Orch-OR, and we'll evaluate each one's view on consciousness. You'll also develop a quantum BS detector to identify common misrepresentations in popular literature. Trust me, you'll need it. The math isn't in dispute. The equations are some of the most tested in history. What physicists argue about is what the math actually means. Niels Bohr and Werner Heisenberg realized early on that the quantum world doesn't have a definite character independent of our interactions. Then there's the famous cat. Schrödinger devised the experiment to show how absurd the standard view seemed. A cat both alive and dead? Absurd, yet here we are. John von Neumann took it further, suggesting that the chain of physical measurement must terminate somewhere. He pointed toward consciousness. The measurement problem is a gap. Our equations are perfect, but the process of how all possibilities become one result is missing from the plans. We'll look at Copenhagen, the classroom standard. It's ambiguous about consciousness, which left a door open that many have walked through. Von Neumann and Wigner weren't just hand-waving. They argued consciousness was the irreducible ingredient that turns possibilities into actualities. Hugh Everett's Many Worlds says there is no collapse, just infinite branches of reality. In this view, manifestation might be a bit incoherent. Sorry about that. Decoherence theory explains why we don't see superpositions in daily life. Interaction with the environment destroys the quantum fragile state very, very fast. Then there's cubism, where the wave function is just an agent's belief system. It's personal and participatory, but doesn't mean you dictate the outcome. Relational QM says reality is a web of relations. There is no view from nowhere. Everything is defined relative to an observer. Bohm's pilot wave is the most classical. It keeps our intuitions but loses the role of consciousness entirely. It's a deterministic clockwork universe. And Orch-OR from Penrose and Hameroff suggests consciousness arises from collapse events in biological neural networks. Deeply controversial, deeply fascinating. We'll clear away the level 4 claims, the marketing quantum that uses physics as a badge of legitimacy without the actual science. The truth is, we don't know. The question is genuinely open, and sitting with that uncertainty isn't a weakness, it's a strength. You'll even practice an uncertainty meditation. 10 minutes of just holding the question without rushing to an answer. It's harder than it sounds. Your assessment will be an essay, a deep dive into these interpretations. I want to see your honest assessment, not just a summary. And we'll engage in a discussion post. The goal isn't agreement, it's genuine dialogue with those who see it differently. This module is the bridge to Module 6, where we meet Neville Goddard and his claim that imagination creates reality. It maps onto these physics debates perfectly. Is Goddard describing something science supports, something it goes beyond, or something it undermines? We'll carry that question forward. The ancient Hermetic teachers understood this. The all is mind wasn't a proof, it was an invitation. A way of engaging that transforms the one who engages. The great work continues, whatever the physics turns out to say. Let's get started.